and welcome to the Merry Show. I'm Merelin Nkwe. Now we continue with our theme of celebrating International Women's Day, which has translated into International Women's Month right here on the Merry Show. Today I'm joined by media personalities and they are rocking the airwaves on radio. She is a drive time show host on skyz Metro FM. Her name is Khaya Moyo, and of course another lady, amazing lady who's joined me today is a classic 263 presenter, and her name is Memory Nkwe with the boss lady.
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm great, thank you so much, Mary. First things first of all, actually congratulations to you on your show.
Thank you so much. Khaya, how are you?
I'm good, girl. Thank you for having us.
Yes. Yeah. And we are here to discuss, a very important matter, which is gender in the media industry, and the strides, of course, that we continue to make in the media industry, and some stereotypes that we encounter, as personalities, as media personalities, especially us who are based here in Bulawayo. First things first, what has been your challenge? What challenges have you encountered when you're in your line of work?
Okay, I'll begin by saying the patriarchal nature of our society extends to the newsrooms, because most ladies in the newsrooms have been perceived to be always shadowing, the male counterparts, So now even most editors, news editors, they've got this stereotypical idea of, probably women having limited intellectual capacity. So hence we are hardly assigned to actually cover political or investigative stories. So we always see our male counterparts being the ones maybe who are glorified, and us who are always taking a back seat. So if you have that chance of actually, given that applauded result, you get to be asked that when the sexual harassment comes in, how did you get there? What did you do? So it's always like women in the media are supposed to be always taking a back seat and letting our men be there in the front row.
And that's so important. You've raised a very important issue when you say, how did you get there? What did you do for you to be in that position? And the fact that we are made to be co-hosts.
Yes.
And I was like, yes.
Thank
Which is important because Khaya is a co-host.
Yes.
And I actually remember at the beginning of this month, we're actually having a conversation about that, and I actually mentioned, why must the female always have a male anchor? I can never be referred to as the anchor. I'm always the co-host as a female, and my male co-host is regarded as the main anchor of the show, as the driver of the show, and I'm regarded as just a sidekick who's there to laugh, and I agree with Memory that it's still there. It's very, very much there. Even if you look at your radio stations, your favorite radio station, how many females have their own shows? And females who have their own shows are given a stereotypical mid-morning show. And that is made, and that slot is generally believed to be, okay, that's the time when women at home are doing their cleaning, they're doing their chores, and they're somewhat listening to radio. And those are things that we need to change, because females have so much to contribute to the space. We can be leading very important conversations. We bring in a perspective that men can never ever bring in, and that's one thing that I really want to challenge is females need to be taking up space. We need to be given more roles. Why can't a female be an executive producer? Why can't a female be a station manager? How many females are actually heading and leading media houses? There are very few people.
Yeah, Khaya has raised a very important point, which is being given a mid-morning show. and you are a mid-morning show presenter, and how did that come about? And when you got that, being aware of when you got that slot, and now being aware of what's happening, and being a female and this slot being stereotypically for women, what came to your mind?
Well, when they gave me the mid-morning show, I just laughed it off and said, okay, well, that's fine, But then I wanted to cut that stereotype that Khaya actually mentioned, because if you look at almost like every radio station, that slot has always been for women. And I've always said, Why can't a woman do the breakfast show on her own and not co-host like what Khaya said? So we need so many changes in the media industry pertaining to women. Even if you look even at print media houses, you know, we've got these ladies who are actually always writing columns based on health issues, the ones that we term less important issues, true. The health issues, the gender issues, and we have our male counterparts are the ones who are busy reporting on political issues, investigative journalism, and you're thinking, okay, I can do it as well, but we are never given that platform to actually, you know, show them our competence actually. So we need those changes, Mary. We've got, you know, so much time, and I think that this era we just have to change things. You know?
All right. Now the both of you are on radio. What are you doing now? Maybe from in your shows, what are you doing to make sure that this stereotype is changed?
I think the first thing is the very fact that you're on that platform, already representing a group. You are a role model. You are maybe I can say I am representing females. And so in all that I'm doing, I'm really hoping that there's a young girl who listens to me, who can say, okay, I want to aspire to be like her, even do more. If we can do more, it's great. And definitely even outside of that, social media, trying to preach a message of females really taking up space, because I think that is a very important thing, and we shouldn't be allowed to be handed opportunities. We should be creating opportunities, grabbing them if we can. And if one door closes, open, like construct your own door.
Yes. Yeah. Now you mentioned a very important aspect of being handed over an opportunity, you know, and just being grateful for that opportunity. What is it that you're doing now that you have realized that I'm just being handed over this this opportunity, and I need to use radio to change lives as well? What are you doing maybe on your show, Memory? What are you doing to ensure that you know what, people know that you are competent, you deserve this job, and you are in it for the right reasons?
All right, a great question, Mary. You know, I have a good friend of mine who's also in the media industry, and when he heard that I got the mid-morning slot, he actually said to me, okay, fine, I'm going to be listening to your shows, and I'm seeing on social media that you're doing great. Do you have maybe cookery tips, or you've got... And then I'm like, why should I have that kind of, you know, content in my show?
And I've listened to your shows actually, and you speak, you're more interested in current affairs, and what's happening in the country, and stuff like that. Now with you, Khaya, there's a question. How did you get there? This is a question that we all get.
I know.
You know, when I meet people as I'm walking around town, people are like, but how did you get that slot? Who do you know?
Yeah, you see now. For ladies, it's always who do you know?
Who do you know, or who did you sleep with?
Yes.
And they also look at your surname, and unfortunately my surname happens to you. So the thing is, that's a mindset that I really don't get. Why can't someone earn something? Why can you not just say, no, but this person is deserving of this? Literally, there was an opportunity and I went for it and I got it. And I keep working at it to make sure that I improve myself and I'm deserving each and every opportunity that I get going forward. So for people to question how you get certain opportunities, for me, I think it's ridiculous. But you know, that will always be there. And I think like what Memory was saying, the important thing is when you have that platform to show people that, no, I'm not going to subscribe to mentality or lie. I'm not going to give you cookery tips. You can just go get a recipe online.
Because we're in here, we want to give you real content that is going to change lives. And now with you, boss lady, who did you sleep with?
You know what, and somebody actually asked me when I was at skyz Metro before, boss lady, okay, fine, you now joined skyz Metro FM. Who did you know? Did you know the CEO? Did you know? I'm like, guys, remember at that time I had a baby, I was breastfeeding, and 8 a.m. I was already there queuing with the rest of the guys, you know. And somebody actually said to me, no, you've done that before, you're not supposed to go through that process. I was like, what was I supposed to do? Go and look for the CEO or the station manager or somebody that I didn't know anyone. So I had to go through the process with everybody else. And then that's when we got selected with Khaya and the rest of the guys. So now for me at Classic 263, I had moved from skyz Metro, and the opportunity arose, and I grabbed it, because I always say, you know, when you're in the media industry, you just have to spread your wings. The fact that we are here, it doesn't mean somebody has actually tied a rope on our necks and say, you guys are going to be stuck in this place. If an opportunity comes, Mary, you just weigh the options and grab that. That's exactly what I did.
You mentioned a very important aspect where you went to audition, and there you were, a mother, you're breastfeeding, and you just went for the opportunity to audition. You're not headhunted, were you?
No.
How important is it to put in the work?
It is, believe me, it is. You know, every time when I go on my show, you know, the minute I put the headphones, I'm like, you know, the other presenters usually ask me, okay, what have you planned for the listeners? And I'm like, no, it's a surprise. For me, every day is a surprise. And I get to interact with my listeners and tell them that, you know what, whatever I'm going to say on air today, it has to have that great impact wherever you'll be listening to. That's why I try to hit hard on current affairs, the stories that I know that they are actually of interest to them, to whoever is actually listening to the show, so that tomorrow they can always tune in. You know, I don't want people to be yawning while listening to us on radio. Come on. And people think that radio is so easy. It's difficult to be actually talking on your own for a good 3 hours, 4 hours, you know, so you just have to have that
on your own.
Come on.
Well, I've listened to your show, Khaya, your drive time show with KK, and it is so interesting. How do you, you know, make it interesting the way it is interesting? How do you ensure that this content that you've got for the day is going to change lives?
Thank you for the compliment. I think obviously having good chemistry with your co-host, that's something that's very, very important. Chemistry is not something easy to match. So when you get a match, preserve that and work on it. So that chemistry helps as well. And always discussing, preparing before putting in the work. Like Memory said, people assume radio is literally just about walking into the studio, putting your headphones on, turning up the mic and talking. But there's a lot of work that goes in before. And I think a good presenter is someone who's able to make it sound so natural and seamless that it doesn't even sound like this is something that this person had planned or deliberated on in a very long time.
How do you go with comparisons?
For me, I really, before I answer that, I need to say that I don't know why people want to pit women against each other. You hardly hear people comparing male figures. I don't know why with women there's so much emphasis on this one's better than that one. So it's as if as women we're not allowed to have multiple women slaying radio at the same time.
That's
like
true.
they can only be one female one time, which is absurd because we're all different, we all have different personalities, and we all bring different things to the table. But like with criticism, it's very important to sift out what's constructive and what's not. Because there's someone who's genuinely giving you feedback so that you can improve, and then they're really mean people, toxic people, especially on social media. So for me, it's filtering out the BS. If I listen to what you have to say and I can see that this is a personal attack, it's not something that's going to build me, I just filter it out. And really protecting peace of mind is very, very important, especially in this industry, because it's so fickle and people don't understand that we're human beings as well. Because people have this mentality that if you're in the public space, you have no emotions. You are literally just there and the people can do as they want with you.
Okay, that was interesting. Now let's talk about social media and social media marketing and just allowing your brand to grow on social media. What is it that you guys are doing to ensure that your brands then grow individually?
All right, my shows, I haven't like reached that level of always pushing my brand that much.
But you're being pushed.
Yes. I'm being pushed. That's very true. I'm being pushed, right?
Oh, I wish my producers could do this for me.
You know what? I'm so grateful for our social media person who's based in Harare, because you know, I used to say, please don't post on a daily basis.
That's
But
the modest, that's the
yes.
part that we're talking about. Yeah.
And then she actually realized that, okay, Memory is not into this social media thing. So she pushes the show on a daily basis. Now it makes me connect more with my fans abroad, you know. So now she's been telling me, even my bosses outside in Harare, that, you know what, you need to push your brand and you need to do more. So yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah, I feel as Bulawayo media personality, you guys are big. I mean, Sky's Metro is big.
Yes.
Classic 263 is national. I feel like as media personalities here in Bulawayo, we are not really big on social media. Why do you think that's the case, Kaya?
I think there's a number of factors. I think traditionally we're very conservative people, we're a very conservative society, and social media is still something relatively new. In as much as we are on WhatsApp, or on Facebook, or on Instagram, but we haven't actually grasped the concept of monetizing the content that we publish on that. So I think maybe that's why sometimes it might seem like, okay, we don't really have a social media presence. Maybe it's just being more strategic on how we use those platforms, because everyone is on social media.
Yeah.
Everyone's on WhatsApp, everyone's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's just maybe finding a way to be strategic and for people to understand how can we use these platforms to benefit us. So it's not just WhatsApp jokes or you're joking with people, but you're actually using it as a business platform to connect, collaborate, and grow your brand.
All right, and we are in Women's Month. And I know you guys are quite vocal when it comes to women. I mean, this girl has got a 9 to 12 show Midmorning.
Yes.
What are you doing to ensure that young girls are encouraged on a daily basis, maybe through your show now, just to ensure that young girls or young women or women in general are encouraged?
Okay. What I do on a daily basis, Mary, I try to make sure that I focus on certain women that have that impact on the young women who are actually listening. And even myself, if I don't even have a guest, I want those young girls who are actually listening and be like, boss lady, I want to be, I was actually overwhelmed 2 weeks back when this young listener actually sent me a message and said, boss lady, I'm a young girl and I want to study journalism because of you. You're making me love radio. So for me, that is actually a good thing. And when I have guests during my show during the week, I make sure that I actually invite those ladies. If it means it's health issues, I have to have a female, doctor to come on board and speak to the listeners as we are celebrating Women's Month. Come on, we can get away with this. So
Yeah.
I love it.
In March we can.
And
you, Kaya?
Those that have been listening to the drive time know that at the beginning of the month we specifically said that we are going to go in on women's issues. We actually have even jingles playing, we have imaging, all sorts of elements that are centered around women, and deliberately every Wednesday is a day that's dedicated to celebrating women. So it might seem like little things, but I think in the long run it can lead up to something bigger, because even sometimes the feedback that you get, even men will end up contributing, like, okay, at least there's one, even if it's just one, even if it's just one man who can send a message and say, but I never actually thought that what I was doing has this type of impact on a woman. So it's things like that. And then on a personal space, I've been working with my former high school to just go back and do motivational speaking, so just encouraging the girls to be the best that they can from a young age, because the decisions they make in high school ultimately affect who they become in the future.
All right, and now being personalities from here, Bulawayo, do you think you are doing enough? Do you think your work is being recognized countrywide?
I feel we're getting
with you now, because you are now on national radio, of which maybe people like Khaya or other personalities like Khaya might not have that opportunity. Why? Because they are in community radio stations. So what do you think needs to be done now so that our reach can be national?
Well, a lot has to be done, Mary. As a female journalist, especially here in Bulawayo, we've actually, we actually come up with a group where we actually included. I'll have to actually edge you guys. I just thought about it. I just thought about it now. I don't know. I have to speak to that because I don't know how you guys were left out. So, especially with this month, Women's Month, we are trying to have probably some few workshops that women can actually talk about their working spaces in the media, and then we upload those, just trying to make sure that they get that national, reach in a possible way. And then we get to even speak on, with different people who are actually in the diaspora, because with me you get to see a lot of people coming on board and taking pictures and sending to me when I'm actually on air. And then they say, what, boss lady, we actually miss home when you're on air. So that's what we are trying to do, create that space for female journalists around here in Bulawayo and say, guys, let's do this and make sure that we push our brands, to actually, have that impact out there.
All right, so talking about pushing your brands, what can we expect for 2020? I mean, we're still in March, so we can say, what can we expect?
Well, I've got a few projects lined up. I'll be launching a podcast soon. I think that's the only one that I can outrightly speak about, because
how can you launch a podcast? I'm going to be launching one soon.
That's great. Yes.
I was about to say, and that does not mean if you launch your podcast, then I won't be able to listen
we have
to watch your podcast.
Yeah.
All right, and you, boss lady?
Same as Khaya. Actually somebody actually said that to me and said, why can't you launch your own podcast? Like, okay, I'm not into these things, but now I understand, when you really want to have that great impact to whoever will be listening to you. So let's go ahead and do it, ladies. I think we can actually,
All right, and talking about the support now in the media industry, what can you say about that?
Well, it's nice to know that people are actually coming back to support the media personalities and the work that we do, because most people will actually tell you that we had moved from that era. We are now always on the internet listening to other radio stations or watching other TV stations. But then when you actually get our listeners and actually saying, okay, we are actually back because we just feel that the Zimbabwean media industry is actually opening up, and then we get these great talks on radio, great presentations. So I'm actually saying to Mary that we are getting there. The work that we're putting in as media personalities is being recognized out there.
Okay, Khaya, do you feel you're getting enough support as a female personality?
Yes and no. I think it's always work in progress, but there's also the element of, sabotage from females. And I think I like what Memory said, that we need to work together as females, coming up with these networks, collaborating, supporting each other, because how can you expect other people to support you if we don't support ourselves as personalities in the industry? So I think once that is definitely something concrete. Even things that we're talking about not having opportunities, those are things that will end up dying away, because we will stand up together and not sabotage people. But now you find that when one person has a position to influence and to bring up other females, they're not necessarily doing that. But if it's a conscious and deliberate effort that we're making and doing, in the long run, some of the challenges we're experiencing as females will be things of the past, because we'll be able to stand up and work together.
And then with the International Women's Day theme, Each for Equal, what does it mean to you?
Equal opportunities in the media industry. We just have to make sure that if our male counterparts are being given that great opportunity to actually have that training that they want, it has to be the same with women. If they are given equal opportunities to actually report on political or investigative stories, we need that as well as female counterparts. So equal opportunities in the media rooms,
All right, and you, Khaya?
For me, the theme is really about equality, but more than that, let us just view each other as human beings.
Yes.
Why do you always have to distinguish a female presenter, a female journalist?
Yes.
I'm a journalist.
Yes.
Full stop.
Full
Why do you
stop.
have to make that distinction? So for me, it's really about getting to a point where gender is no longer an issue, where you're looking at a person's competence despite of their sexual orientation or their gender.
All right, Khaya. Boss lady?
Yes.
Thank you so much for having joined us right here on the Mary Show. And these ladies have got a lot that they are cooking up. This one is going to be having her podcast. She's going to be having hers. I am going to be having mine. And the most important thing is to just support each other.
Yes.
So if we do not support each other as women, who is going to support us? No one. So thank you so much for having joined us right here on the Mary Show. And if you feel like you do not really get the opportunity of listening to these ladies, she is on Classic 263 from 9 to 12 and frequency
90.0.
90.0 right here in Bulawayo. And you can live stream, and we're going to put the link down below, as well as Khaya. She is on the Drive Time Show. She's the yes girl. I'm kidding. She is. Alright, so she is on Drive Time Show every Monday to Friday from 2 to 6 p.m. as well as on Saturday. You do the weekend breakfast from 6 to 10 a.m. The reason why we're still here at this point in time is because of her. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for having joined us right here on the Mary Show. Until next time, remember our theme is each for equal, and we continue doing that, and we continue making strides in different sectors that we are in. So until next time, I have to love you and leave you. Bye-bye.